Today's topic is not a very technical topic, which is divorce by mutual consent. You must have seen it in various movies, and if anybody still watches Delhi soaps, then even in Delhi soaps, it's very common. So, what is divorce by mutual consent? Divorce by mutual consent is basically a concept wherein two people divorce each other without leveling any allegations against each other with their own choice, personal. That just they don't want to stay together. So that is the divorce by mutual consent, when both the parties consent mutually on certain terms and conditions. So now, like, we have to know how, like, see, I would like to cover the following things in today's webinar. First is consent terms, then how after consent terms are drafted, how the petition has to be drafted, then things which may comprise in this, like, today's topic of divorce by mutual consent, or main contents like which may be surrounding this topic, and how is the process taken further in the court. So I think we should start with the presentation. So see how it is when two people plan to like obtain divorce. See, firstly, these are personal matters which husband and wife normally decide behind the doors. So we don't know what is happening behind the doors. The original backside story may be something else, which we are not bothered if it is divorce by mutual consent, like from lawyer's perspective. So see, there are two ways. Either parties come to us to discuss their problems, and we lawyers can like tell them like, okay, take the take divorce by mutual consent, so that your reputation doesn't like get spoiled. अगर really high profile लोग होते हैं, in case like actors and like people who are social influencers or something. So such people usually prefer that mode, and even like common people also who don't want to involve with like huge litigation process leveling unnecessary allegations, because see, at the end, in if it is a divorce matter, your marriage, your personal life gets like exposed to the public in the court of law. So this is the reason many people prefer divorce by mutual consent. See how it happens. It can happen by two ways. If like the husband and wife both are mature enough to like just say that they just like plan it themselves, and then they come to lawyer, this is one way. Like just tell the lawyer that we want divorce by mutual consent. That is like easier process in comparison. And if it is the other way, where like husband and wife come to a lawyer for discussing their problems, then lawyer has to do some counseling of both the sides, and like if possible have to explain them that what are the advantages of obtaining a divorce by mutual consent. If it goes into like, if it doesn't happen mutually, then if it goes into contested route, then like what all difficulties one might face. So that is the work of the lawyers, which you have to do, like if any such parties come to you as clients. Then see, discussing the terms. If supposed to people are like, okay, like मान जाते हैं कि okay, we are ready to be separated by mutually as per the terms. So in such case, what happens? Then the parties approach a lawyer and have to discuss in respect of all the terms, sub-terms, like all the terms you have to consider. What all can be the terms in the mutual consent that are to be discussed? See, first is like if like the couple has a child and custody of the child, right? Then custody, like in case the parties like prefer ki one parent has the permanent custody of the child, that is like a physical custody of the child also it involves. And like the other parent says, okay, I'm not, like bothered with the child, I can just like meet the child once in a while or something. So in that case, it is called visitation rights. So visitation rights are also to be taken into consideration if like any parents prefer that. Then next aspect is the alimony. So there are two ways. For alimony, either it can be one-time permanent alimony, like okay, take whatever sum like 10 lakhs or whatever and just get lost from my life. That is one thing. And second, like there are few people like who don't want one-time alimony and because they can't pay or whatever it is. So in such case, such people prefer like monthly maintenance, that after the divorce has happened of the wife. So wife, like husband is supposed to pay wife particular amount, say 10,000, 12,000, whatever. So the husband is supposed to pay the wife maintenance on monthly basis till the time wife marries, like she remarries after the divorce till that time. So that is another aspect. Then third aspect, there are many other aspects also, which I'll be covering later, but like these are the like two aspects. One is the if there are children in a marriage, then custody of the child, and if like the other is alimony, which any which ways comes into place. So then after all these particulars are finalized, then the matters proceeds ahead for drafting. And in divorce matters by mutual consent, there is one more thing. See, like either a party can have a same lawyer, like both the husband and wife can have same lawyer in a mutual consent divorce petition, or if like there are any trust issues or something within the husband and wife, then they both can like avail individual lawyer, like separate lawyers, like wife का एक lawyer हो सकता है, husband का एक lawyer हो सकता है. And then both the lawyers like mutually like discuss the draft, how it has to be, and they finalize the draft. That way also it can proceed. Then drafting of consent terms. This is the second step. Like in the previous slide, what we discussed was the like backstory of even like what happens even before drafting starts in a divorce matter. So now it is like drafting of the consent terms. So consent terms, what all it can consent terms may comprise of. See, the step involves a lot of discussion in respect of every minute detail, which may pertain to such couple's life and like from marriage perspective also. And there are certain other terms also, which may be required to be changed or whatever, depending upon the party's stand. It's like, see, in divorce matter, there are people like today they say one thing, tomorrow they will say something else. So all that, I mean, it happens in all the legal matters, but like in divorce matter currently we are talking, so yeah. So in that case, it's like, see, today, if like wife says, I want the I am okay with like giving like joint custody or something to the father of the child. Like after few days, she may change her stand. She may say like, okay, I don't want joint custody. The physical custody of the child should be with me. And father may be aware visitation rights once in a week or jo bhi let's say. So this is like all these things like keep happening in a divorce matter. So all this the lawyer has to take care regarding. Then again, like counsel the parties accordingly, get some settlement done. All this happens. So these are the things. Then the next is consent terms should always be shared with the parties, as you, like obviously. And after they are drafted, especially in the cases where there are different lawyers, is yeah. See, as I told, agar like husband has one lawyer, wife has one lawyer, then in that case, it is necessary that coordination is the most important thing. Because in such cases, at times it happens that there are certain misunderstandings like regarding communications or interpretations of certain things between either from the lawyer's side or from the client side, that depends. But in that case, like अच्छा खासा जो settle हो रहा है matter, like it can go into contested route, which is like not advisable. So that care needs to be taken by lawyers, especially by lawyers. Also by clients, but also by lawyers. So coordination is most important and should be done to put the process in proper way. Then the consent terms involve like every like minute point-wise details of every term as per whatever is negotiated among the parties in respect of all these things. First is like Stridhan. Stridhan is like particular gifts or whatever, like jewelry or something, which is mostly given to women upon like after they marry, from both the sides, from their parents' side or from the in-laws. Then other similar gifts which may be there, like husband ne koi gifts diye wife ko. Then other aspect, as I said, visitation rights to child or custody, depending. Then if visitation rights are to be given, then the timing, days, a particular place, it can either be courts room, like in courts also there are certain rooms like allocated to children to meet their parents or something. So those rooms or any other particular place, it can be father's house, it can be mother's house if father is supposed to come and meet the child, or it can be any play park or whatever. Then vacation of the child to be spent with whom in case. Then decisions in respect of child schooling, like whether both the parties will have a say or no. Like in certain cases, it may happen that one of the parent is least bothered. So in that case, such parent can just say like, I'm okay with, I'm not contributing anything towards child. So it depends. All these things are like subject to discussion between husband and wife. So then any well-secure plans in respect of child, if father wants to avail, or like, I mean, the parent who is not having custody of the child wants to give any well-secure plan for the child, like FD, or at times few people open trusts also for the children. Then any decisions that are taken in respect of the house of the parties. See, like in certain cases, like in like place like Mumbai, where most of the women do earn. So like the flat which is owned by husband and wife is ideally, they both are either co-owners or like they both pay like loan of that particular flat if the flat is on loan or something. Then in such case, what about the house? like which party will relinquish their rights in respect of the house for any sum of money or for like whatever. That depends if such house is jointly owned by both. So that also is another aspect, and like it needs to be framed properly, like what will happen, how the process will take place in this respect. So these are also certain issues. Then there are also issues regarding passport handover of the and this mostly happens like among the people like who are very rich or something, like who may spend their vacations every weekend in some Bangkok or somewhere. So then like in that case, what about the child's passport, who will be having like custody of his passport? And if such child is supposed to like travel to abroad with the like whichever parent, then in that case all that process needs to be like properly designed in the consent terms also, because otherwise in the future it may create problems again, and this same couple will come to you with the same problems. So all this care needs to be taken by lawyers as well as the clients, but by lawyers in particular. Drafting of mutual consent divorce petition. See, consent terms is the first part which I explained here. In consent terms, it is just like basically point wise, you have to state everything in detail, how things will happen regarding each aspect, and what is the decision which parents have mutually decided. That you have to like specify in proper detail, because otherwise it will create problem in the future. So you have to like state it properly. That's it. Then now divorce petition. See, consent terms are a part of divorce petition. So like now divorce petition, I'm just reading it first. See, the divorce petition includes what all it includes. Firstly, it comes under petition F of like in the family courts. In family courts, it is petition F if it is a divorce by mutual consent. Then the petition contains law and section of the laws wherein divorce petition is being filed. That is whichever section of whichever act. Yeah, one more thing I would like to specify here. A person, like a couple, can avail divorce under the same law under which the marriage has got registered. Means if the marriage is registered in Hindu Marriage Act, then the divorce also has to be filed under Hindu Marriage Act. If it is Special Marriage Act, then the divorce also has to be filed under Special Marriage Act. So it is like that. And like if the marriage is suppose not registered, there are few still people in India like who don't register their marriages. Then in such case, such couples will have to fix their photographs and like specify under certain affidavit or something that like our marriage is not registered, but the marriage had taken place on so and so date, etc. All those details of the marriage, and they have to fix their photographs like as exhibits, marriage photographs. So that is the thing. And senior section and the act I have purposefully put like blanks. That is homework for the participants. That which section can come under which act, like for the mutual consent divorce. The acts are Hindu Marriage Act for Hindus, Special Marriage Act for all the people irrespective of the religion. Then it is Indian Divorce Act for the Catholics, like which is I think amended in 2001. And there is one more, Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939 for the Muslims. So you all can check these acts and which sections apply for the mutual consent divorce petition. And after that, as the case may be, after all these details, then parties in divorce petition are, in mutual consent divorce petition are supposed to be petitioner number 1 and petitioner number 2. So there is no petitioner and respondent, but that is petitioner number 1 and petitioner number 2. And also their names have to be specified properly. The address has to be like provided of both the parties wherever they are residing. Then contact details like phone number and email may be provided, and a photograph is also required, passport size photograph to be affixed. So after this, the point-wise petition has to be drafted stating details of the marriage of the party, like where the marriage happened, in whichever hotel or whatever hall or something. Then date of the marriage and place, as I said. Then name and age of the issues born, that is children born out of their wedlock. Then whether like when such couple last cohabitated and the date from when they are living separately from each other. Then why they decided to separate without leveling any allegations on each other, like you can just say compatibility issues or whatever. And regarding you also have to specify that regarding that family and friends tried to resolve the differences, but it didn't work out. Then consent terms are also required to be attached after this. Either you can like just include it in the divorce petition itself, just a copy paste kind of thing, but like you have to do it properly, even if you are copy pasting, if you have like drafted the consent terms separately. Then like that no pending, like no cases are pending in any court in respect of the issues pertaining to the marriage. Like you have to like specify ki like koi case nahi hai hamare against, like we have not put any case. There are few people who put domestic violence cases and other cases depending on each case. So all these matters, like all these cases have to be closed if we are like filing a divorce petition by mutual consent. So because no other like cases can like go on pertaining to the matrimonial issues if the couple is like willing to separate mutually from each other, then you have to also state that there is no connivance between the parties, and like means there is no force or no coercion, and the parties have agreed to settle by divorce by mutual consent by choice. Then there is no like, yeah, see again this is the same point in a way, that there is no coercion or undue influence and parties are willing and agreeing to the terms of the divorce and that they have understood the contents of the petition. Then payment of the stamp duty of ₹100 has been made, that like you have to affix the court fee of ₹100, the divorce petition, and that the parties shall abide the terms and of the petition, and like last May you have to give the prayers. Prayers can be like that divorce be granted by mutual consent in accordance of the mutual consent terms taking into consideration. And yeah, this is the like normal index of the mutual consent divorce petition, how it goes. First is Roznama. Roznama is the like normal index form, like on what date what happened, like that particular format आता है वैसे तो वही, you have to either you can copy paste it or like buy it from the court and stationery or something around the court. Then there is petition. Petition we discussed in the previous slide, what all you have to specify in the same. And affidavits in support of the petition by both petitioner number 1 and petitioner number 2. Then like affidavit, like basically that all the like details specified in the petition are like true and all that stuff. Then list of the documents, like firstly, like in mutual consent normally list of documents is like comparatively very small. Exhibit A, that is photocopies of the residential and ID proofs of the parties like Aadhaar card, PAN card, whatever. And exhibit B is the original marriage photograph or marriage certificate if the marriage is registered, dated whichever date of the marriage. Then memorandum of the address, that like you just have to specify your address like in details. Then application for appointing an advocate. So for that, both the parties have to apply, like it's just a normal written letter to the court that we want to apply an advocate, because family court mostly, as per the Family Courts Act, for marriage by like at least for divorce and mutual consent, one normally doesn't need to appoint an advocate, but like practically most of the people appoint the advocate. Yeah, and in the end it is wakalatnama, because obviously if you are like applying for an appointing an advocate, wakalatnama has to be there from the lawyer's side. Yeah. See, the next step is like removal of objections, like in any legal matter or case, whichever you file. After the petition is filed, removal of objections is the next step ultimately. So here, after the filing petition, you are given one filing number and you shall be given a date for removing the objections. Then after the removal of objection, the petition is numbered, and it like the objections are like very minor, like any typo error or anywhere if any particular thing is not specified regarding stamp duty payment, or regarding that the divorce terms are like not by any force or undue influence have been obtained from any party. All those terms you have to specify properly. So if the such terms are not written, then you can just write it by hand or whatever. That you have to ask the filing department of the court, and they will explain. Normally they explain. And after the removal of objection, the petition is numbered and it is submitted to a particular court. See, like in family court, at least there are 7 courts. So it can, the divorce petition can go to any court, like before any judge, it can go. So that is the thing. And like, yeah, in the districts where, I mean, like cities like Mumbai have a family court, but there are certain districts where there are no family courts to date. So in such places, the divorce petition will go in the district courts of that particular area. And like language depends. It can either be in like Marathi if in Maharashtra, or any other language if in like outside Maharashtra, whichever state. Yeah. So on the then after the like petition is like given to a particular court, then on the first, like of course the date is also given when the matter is like all the objections are removed, etc. So date is given on, then on the first date parties are supposed to attend. Both the parties are supposed to attend with their lawyers if like they are different lawyers. Then on the first date, parties are sent to the marriage counselors. Like marriage counselors are the officers of the court only. Like for every court, like every floor of the family court, there is a particular marriage counselor ka chamber on that floor only. So you have to go to that particular marriage counselor and both husband and wife, and they have to discuss the issue. Like lawyer may be present or may not be present, that depends. So then such marriage counselor meets both the parties in his chamber and learns the matter and checks if such marriage can be saved by like zara bhi chances hai like they don't take divorce, because in India still we believe like that marriage is a sacred institution which should be preserved as much possible. So in like if such marriage can be saved, or whether the parties have made up their minds finally like okay they want to separate, and in such case then if such parties have made up their mind, then like the counselor will provide his report accordingly to the court and like gives an next date after 6 months. So this 6 months time period is like very necessary in most of the cases. So like the next date after 6 months, or I mean like in practicality after 7 months or so, it is given for the final divorce. Then 6 months time period is granted to see if there are any chances towards reconciliation, like such parties might like change their mind or something, and like such time period is also extendable till 18 months. Like see on the like after the 6 months is a time is over, there are any other pending issues, or if the parties are confused or whatever, then again like next date is given if like on that day the parties are not able to decide. But like such period is only extendable up to 1 year from that next date, so it is like 18 months, like after the 6 months if you consider 1 month or 1 year. So then in such case, such time period of 6 months can be waived off also by court in like very rarest of the rare cases, depending on the circumstances. Like if any party is ailing or something, then in that case, it is possible that such time period of 6 months may be waived off. Then also if people cannot attend such hearings physically, there are instances where such hearings and counselings have been like conducted through online modes like Skype video, or like DOCs have been granted after like the recording the statement of the parties on the Skype call or whatever on Zoom. See, like mainly this is very much applicable in today's like world where like during COVID and all, people are not able to travel. Like, and mostly in the part, like if one of the parties are in the abroad, like in Australia, whichever country, then in such case, if such party is not able to travel, then this is a good precedent. Like it happened in 2018 year regarding Bombay High Court. I think Bombay High Court had passed a judgment that Skype recording can be allowed if the person is not able to travel to India for the final stage of hearing or whatever. So now the final stage, like that is after 6 months when the second hearing comes. Then in the next stage, second counseling takes place of the parties, and like of course you have to go for counseling in the second stage also, and the parties, it is checked whether all the terms and conditions in the consent like petition, divorce petition are complied or not by each party, and that like the counselor also has to see that there are no claims which are pending, and the counselor approves of the same. Like in case, then the matter will go to court, like the counselor will submit his report, okay, these parties are good enough to be separated now because there is no claim pending and nothing, and the parties are 100% sure that they like want divorce or whatever. Then before the court, parties have to appear like with their respective affidavit stating, see, like after the counseling is over, both like petitioner number 1 and petitioner number 2 go to the court, like where the judge is there. Then before the judge, they have to provide their affidavit of each party, affidavit of petitioner number 1 and petitioner number 2 separately. And like it just basically states marriage details and like if any children in the marriage. Then there were issues regarding compatibility, and like it was not possible for such parties to stay under one roof. Then their family and friends tried to bring reconciliation, but no avail, and that they have voluntarily finally decided to part ways, and like that there are no claims or no exchange pending. And last May, they have to give the prayers for granting divorce and any other relief in the interest of justice. Then after considering all these submissions, the court, like practically the judge normally asks whether such parties have understood the terms and conditions, like because in India, even today, many people don't understand English or whatever. Like if the petition is in English and the parties are like, if they are not able to understand, so judge also has to confirm that. So practically there are few judges who ask such parties whether you all have understood what was the matter. So verbally also you have to like be prepared if you are like among petitioner number 1 or petitioner number 2, or the lawyer has to train them like if judge asks so and so question, like how you have to answer, like don't like shake before the judge or something. So all that lawyer will have to say. So then after considering all this submission, court passes the decree and judgment in accordance. And like this decree and judgment can be read like maybe on the same day depending, but like the certified copy of the decree and the judgment can be procured after like few days from the department of the court by the parties by paying whatever nominal charges or whatever. And one more thing I would like to cover here, the alimony, in case the party is like willing to pay any alimony or whatever, then such particular sum either the party can pay in the form of like check or something, but then the wife has to agree that okay, she has received the alimony, because otherwise in the future it may create problem if the check bounces or something. So it is better to get it done. And there's like from like for the wife I am saying. And the second option is the husband can also like deposit such amount which has been negotiated and is included as amount for the alimony in the divorce petition consent terms. That amount can be deposited in the courts department, courts accounts department, if like any court has. Family court has it, the other like district courts or something, I am not sure. So in that case, the person can also deposit such amount in that accounts department, and such amount can be like withdrawn by the wife after like the final divorce hearing is done and the decree is granted by the court. So wife has to seek permission of the court, and after that only the amount which was deposited by the husband can be withdrawn by the wife.
The first question that we have is, in what cases parties go for separate advocates?
Separate advocates, see, there may be certain cases where there are trust issues, like the wife might feel that the lawyer is like more towards the husband's side, or husband may feel the lawyer is more towards like wife's side. So it depends upon the parties. Either they can have the same lawyer if there are no trust issues at all, or like if they are not sure, then they can like have their own lawyers. So like so that if they are separate lawyers, the law that like lawyer doesn't have to be responsible for being like bringing any settlement between the two for every matter. The lawyer is free at like just presenting the stand of their own sides. So like that is the thing.
The next question is, if the wife is earning, still she is eligible for alimony and maintenance?
Legally, yes.
Okay, so the next question that we have is, if the matter is settled in mediation and matter is withdrawn, whether subsequent petition can be filed, and if yes, till what time?
See, if the matter is settled in mediation, as in I understand the matter is a contested divorce which went for mediation and then it's settled. So in such case, the mediation, like the judge or the lawyer who is conducting such mediation will give report to the particular court where the matter was contested. And then the such parties will have to like change the amend the petition from contested to mutual consent, which is a technical thing like which one learns only through the court process. That lawyer can take care. And if you are a lawyer, the person asking such question, then this is a big process. Means it can be done in a day, but like it involves a lot of things. So in such case, after that mutual consent, like then the matter becomes mutual consent after it is amended. Then after that matter is a mutual consent divorce, which happens after that. Because in such, yeah, one more thing, if like the matter which is contested and it becomes like it gets converted to mutual divorce, then in such matter, the 6 months of time waiting period means can be waived off, depending upon like that mutual consent divorce petition was filed when, and the parties are like living separately from each other since which day. So depending upon that, that 6 months time period may be waived off. And therefore, like see if the mutual consent only it becomes right at the end, then in such case, after that, that particular decree by mutual consent which has been obtained cannot be challenged in the upper court. Means it can be, but like normally it doesn't get entertained in the upper court. Any decree which has been obtained through mutual consent divorce petition cannot be challenged. Please note this, cannot be challenged in any superior court by anybody. And even if it can be challenged, it is like the ground has to be really strong. And the 90 days is the time of appeal if anybody wants to appeal such decree. But practically it doesn't get entertained normally in most of the situations. Yeah.
Okay, so next question is, can a domestic violence case be fought after filing the mutual consent divorce petition?
No, because in like if mutual consent divorce petition one is filing, then as I said, the important specification in the divorce petition is that there are no cases pending. So if there are no cases pending, then but obviously the divorce, like the domestic violence case which has been filed, or I mean it cannot be filed after that, because if that is the case, then this mutual consent divorce petition won't stand only. It will have to be withdrawn, and then the domestic violence case can go ahead. And if like the matter was filed before the filing of mutual consent divorce petition, then that domestic violence case will have to be withdrawn if you want to file mutual consent divorce petition.
Okay, the next question is, what is the remedy in case all the terms and conditions are getting fulfilled, but the issue on child custody is not resolved? Then can parties go for mutual consent to let the court decide on child custody?
No,
Okay.
because child custody is important aspect which has to be decided in a mutual consent divorce petition.
Okay, the next question is, do parties necessarily need 1 year completion of marriage for filing the mutual consent divorce? In any case, can it be done before completion of 1 year?
See, if you want to file a mutual consent divorce petition, then 1 year waiting is necessary. If you want to separate before, like within the first year of marriage, then marriage annulment has to be done. But even in annulment, there is a condition that the marriage should not be completed, like in the way.
The next question is, in which cases husband is eligible for alimony?
See, there are like case laws. There is no law, but there are case laws where the husband has been allowed to seek alimony or maintenance from wife. So it depends, like it is in the rarest of the rare cases where wife is earning and husband is either his handicap or maybe mentally unsound. In such cases, maybe husband may be allowed to seek alimony from the wife. But then again, like this is like subject to debate. I mean, it depends upon the court's will, whether that particular case is of that particular ground that husband can be allowed.
Okay, the next question is, any alimony or maintenance is just from husband's property or his income, and also from the family property?
See, there are like, if it is a mutual consent, then there are no particular rules. It depends upon the negotiation between the parties. So if it is the alimony, then the husband who has either, of course, his income can be one ground, then his personal property, if it is his self-acquired property, then that can stand as second ground. And like in the family property, maybe the wife cannot ask, I mean, she can ask, but it depends upon the court, like whether she'll be allowed. But all these three aspects are like have to be considered if the matter is a contested divorce and not in the mutual.
Okay. The next question that we have is, for child below 12 years, the custody generally goes to the mother, but divorce by mutual consent. In divorce by mutual consent, can they agree to give the custody to maternal or paternal grandparents if both the parents are working and don't want the custody of the child?
Again, this is, yeah, it is possible such arrangement can be made, but then, yeah, normally such arrangement can be made if like either of the parties are not cannot like handle the child because of their work assignments or whatever. Yeah, it is allowed generally, but the terms have to be specified properly with due care in the petition, so that there are no disputes in the future regarding child custody.
The next question is, ma'am, do you advise a private counseling out of the court?
See, it is okay. One can like go for counseling anytime, but like, see, once you have like filed for the mutual consent divorce petition, what sense it makes? The like private counseling will only confuse you more. But this is subjective again. This is not a legal query as such, so it's okay. Prior to filing divorce petition, if anybody wants to go for counseling, like for like to check whether their marriage is working or they should file a divorce petition, then it's completely okay.
The next question is, if somebody filed a petition but the opposite party never appeared in a mutual consent petition, then what should be done?
In such case, it depends that 18 months time period, as I said, that 18 months time period, such petition either can be withdrawn, or if the party like applies, then maybe like it happens very rare, but in that case, the decree may be passed, but then again becomes ex parte decree. An ex parte decree can be challenged easily in the upper court if like the party who has not appeared in the divorce matter wants to file. Thank you.